Today on Cooking with Gerry, we're making a bean oatmeal porridge. Let's go to a short video from earlier. Part 1 is the pre-soak. You can see I have some mixed beans and some dried red corn. I kept them separate because I am going to use this water in the cooking process, and also because I don't think the red corn needs to be cooked as long as the beans. The beans will go into the saucepan for about 25 minutes on a low heat, and then I'll drain the water, and then the second time when I add fresh water, that's when I'll add the red corn. Now I changed this water, I let it soak for about 12 hours, but I changed the water at about the halfway point. This water I didn't change. I think it's okay to use. And then we will add some other ingredients, as you will see on the next segment. So like I said, about 25 minutes for the first cook of those mixed beans. Then I turn the heat off, let it cool for about 10 minutes. I drain the water, put fresh water in, turn the heat back on to low, and then I added the red corn kernels that were soaking in water with that soaked water, and that cooked for about 10 minutes. And then with my small strainer, I removed about half of it because it's too much for me for one meal. So I have leftovers right here that I'll use for my next meal, adding some veggies, probably celery, beetroot, carrot, not sure. And then I also added, after about 10 minutes of the second cook time of the beans, and now also with the corn, I added about 2 tablespoons of sesame seeds and about 15 cashews that I had washed prior and drained, and I put them in, and they've been cooking for about 10 minutes. I learned from Dr. Stephen Gundry, lots of great videos, that cashews and peanuts have a high concentration of lectins, which can be damaging to the body. So he recommends that they be cooked or at least soaked, and he also mentioned using a pressure cooker. So those sesame seeds and cashews have been in for about 10 minutes, still on a low rolling boil. Now I'm going to add the last 2 ingredients, which are a small apple that I chopped up, washed, removed the core, cut into small pieces, and probably about 4 small handfuls of whole oat flakes. I also forgot to mention that I added about a tablespoon of coconut oil at the same time as I added the cashews and sesame seeds. So let's get these oat flakes in. There's still the cooking water from that second time. That's why I use the strainer, because these oat flakes need water to cook. So I'm going to add 4 small handfuls. And stir that around. It's still very liquidy right now, but the flakes, the oat flakes, will absorb the water, and it should be like a porridge consistency. And here I'm going to add the apple as well. And I'll let this cook for about 5 minutes. I'll turn the heat off, add some salt, some extra virgin olive oil, and this is my breakfast. Now I mentioned I'm going to have beans again at my next meal, but I also want to say that for many people having beans at 2 meals in a row might be a mistake because beans can be hard to digest, and also because beans have a high percentage of carbohydrates. They have more protein than most plants, but they're still about 75% carbohydrate, which means about 75% sugar. So depending on each individual person, having beans at 2 meals in a row could be a mistake. This is a vegan meal, but you can add many other ingredients depending on what you like. I almost added cranberries and raisins, but I have a fresh apple, so I decided to put that instead. The cranberries and the raisins would increase the sugar content of this meal, which I wanted to avoid, but I think it's a fairly good balance. The seeds, the cashews, and the beans will provide enough of a protein content. The dried red corn is a lot of sugar, but it's also a lot of fiber, as well as the oat flakes being whole oat flakes and not the instant oats. There's a lot of fiber, and I've learned recently that fiber is great for the gut flora. So that's today's oatmeal mixed bean porridge with cashews, sesame seeds, red corn, and apples. It's going to be tasty. I'm looking forward to it, and it'll be nice on this cold, wet morning to put a nice warm breakfast into my stomach. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon. I realized I forgot to show you what it looks like in the saucepan. Here it is, slow, low rolling boil. You can see the apple, red corn, oat flakes, some beans, lots of different ingredients you can choose.